Assalamualaikum, Dr. Suhaimi.
Boleh dengar?
Uh, boleh dengar?
Boleh dengar saya?
Boleh, boleh. Mungkin boleh
Eh?
naik sikit volume.
Testing. Okey.
Okay, better.
Okey ya. Okey.
Okay. Kita tunggu lagi 2-3 minit lah.
Boleh, tak ada masalah.
Lepas kita masuk. Right, thank you.
Welcome.
Alright. Waktu pun dah pukul 9. Boleh kita mulakan, Doktor?
Boleh, betul. Boleh.
Right. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat sejahtera. Sebelum kita mula majlis kita hari ini, kita mulakan dengan bacaan umum kitab dan Al-Fatihah lah. Bagi yang bukan beragama Islam, boleh baca ikut kepercayaan masing-masing. Al-Fatihah. Okay, Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya wal mursalin sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi washabihi ajma'in. Alhamdulillah, dengan keizinannya dapat kita bersama-sama sekali lagi pada pagi ini untuk mendengar satu lagi perkongsian mengenai teaching and learning. So far we have about 15 participants joining, and inshallah we are expecting more to join. So the topic for today is action research in course delivery. This is PPKA talk Series 12, okay? And on behalf of PKPP, we would like to welcome all participants this morning for joining us today. Thank you very much for your time to listen to these lectures that will be given by our speakers in a bit. Okay, so the topic today is on action research in course delivery, which I think very significant to all of us as educators, to embed the element of action research in teaching and learning. Sebab knowledge ni kan is best obtained through actions. Cumanya we don't have the expertise to do that. Kita bukan expert kan, mungkin especially yang pensyarah baru ni. Jadi this is a great platform lah for all of us to learn something about action research, and who knows, maybe it helps to further improve our teaching and learning so that students will get better engagement in our lectures. So we are very glad to have our speaker for today, Associate Professor Dr. Muhamad Suhaimi bin Taat from the Faculty of Psychology and Education. So basically, Dr. Suhaimi has a vast experience lah in action research. In fact, the PhD also on curriculum and instructional design in sociology. So thank you very much, Dr. Suhaimi, for accepting our invitation to be the speaker for today. And insyaAllah, hopefully perkongsian hari ini dapat bagi banyak manfaat lah kepada participants. So without further delay, I would like to welcome our speaker, Dr. Suhaimi Taat, untuk deliver his talk. Over to you, Doctor.
Okay, thank you very much, Encik. Salam sejahtera. Very good morning, everybody. So first of all, Alhamdulillah, we thanks to Allah SWT permission that we are able to meet now via online. Okay, and for today, maybe I'm not the best person to share this with all of you about external research, but yeah, Alhamdulillah, with a little bit of experience doing this and teaching this course to the students, especially in the Faculty of Psychology and Education. Inshallah, I will try my best to share with you about action research. Okay, let's go for the next slide. So for this morning, inshallah, I will try to cover this content. The first one, of course, we need to know about our national educational philosophy first. Then why we do research, history of action research, or the short form is the AR. AR might be augmented reality as well, but for this session, AR we refer to action research. And then the definition of action research, there are many definitions given by the scholars, by the academician about AR, but we'll look some of the definition given by the most prominent scholars, and then we will try to get the conclusion of that definition. And then we look at the purpose of the AR, the benefit, the advantage, the characteristic, the types of AR, the process, format, and example. Actually, there are many more, maybe the analysis and etc. But for this session, I will just share with you this content. And actually, it also remind me to do the action research as well. Because from my experience, those days when I was a teacher, yes, I did this AR frequently. Yeah, of course, because I need to improve my students' performances, my teaching practice. Yeah, but when I joined UMS, it's very, I didn't did it so many because this is not really to me for that time, particularly not really related. But now actually I know that either at school or any other higher institution like us at UMS, it is still relevant. AR is still relevant to the lecturer or to teacher and to the educator. Okay. Now, I think before we embark further, we need to refer, we need to embrace, we need to know, we need to really realize what is our national educational philosophy. Because whatever we do, whatever we trying to pursue, whatever we want to teach our student, teaching them, if we want to do research in our discipline of knowledge, we need to refer back, we need to trace it back to the our national educational philosophy, or in Malay we call as falsafah pendidikan kebangsaan. Okay, yeah, we know that this NEP belongs to our Ministry of Education, not the Ministry of Higher Institution. But actually, before these two ministry separated, of course, you know, due to the political aspect and whatsoever, uh, when they develop this NEP, we are together. Means that the higher education and the Ministry of Education, we are under the same roof or under the same umbrella. So this NEP is still relevant and related either to the Ministry of Education or to the Ministry of Higher Institution. So we need to really make sure this is our fundamental. This is the thing that we need to know, we need to embrace, and we need to really hold it firmly in whatever we are doing, either teaching, researching, or etc. Okay, this is our national educational philosophy. Education in Malaysia is an ongoing effort. It's ongoing, means continuous effort towards further developing the potential of individuals in a holistic and integrated manner. Means that we want to develop our student potential, their abilities, their talent in a holistic and integrated manner. Holistic means that in Malay we call as menyeluruh. Huh? We cannot just pick one point, one aspect, we left the other one. No, we need to, as a human being, as a student, so we need to develop our students' potential holistic and integrated manner so as to produce individuals who are intellectually, spiritually, emotionally, and physically balanced and harmonious. So here it stated four main elements, which are intellect, spirit, emotion, and physical. We want to produce our students who are really good intellectually. Instead, in terms of their cognitive, intellectual faculty is very, very good. Of course, we want them to be clever. Apart from that, we want them to be wise, have a very good wisdom as well. Spiritually, emotionally stable, not really easy to get upset, either when they are sad, happy, whatever, not extreme. Uh, and then physically balanced as well as very healthy. So we need to produce these four elements in our students, balanced and harmonious, based on a firm belief in and devotion to God. So I believe most of us have our own religion that we believe. So we need to devote ourselves and our student to God. I believe that if we as human beings, as the servant of God, we really devote ourselves to our God. So we won't do something wrong. The wrongdoings that might make God angry of us. So this firm belief and devotion to God will really tie us to these good values. So such an effort is designed to produce Malaysians, citizens who are knowledgeable and competent. Knowledgeable and competent. Is that their general knowledge is good, their standard is very, very high. They are competent in terms of their knowledge and skill is very, very up to the level. So in order for any graduates to be uh, uh, to get a job or they are marketable, so when they go to get any job, they apply. So they need to have this kind of a very good and high level of knowledge and competencies. who possess high moral standards. Means that not only they are good in terms of their knowledge and skill, but they have also high moral standards. We want to produce a very good human being, student. We don't want to produce, for example, this is for example, an engineer who just can build a bridge for only 1 month, then collapse, or 1 year, and then the bridge collapse. We want to produce an engineer who can build a bridge forever. Means that at least it can last for 100 years, 200 years. So moral standards, they don't get bribe, take bribery. No. So moral standards, and who are responsible and capable of achieving high level of personal well-being. Okay, responsible and capable of achieving high level of personal well-being with a very good integrity, as well as being able to contribute to the harmony and betterment of the family, the society, and the nation at large. Means that if a person, he or she want to contribute to the family, society, and the nation, he himself or she herself must be able to contribute to him or herself first, to be a good person, balanced, comprehensive. So they are able to, after that, they can contribute to the family, society, and the nation at large. So this is actually, I just want to share with all of you and also to remind myself that this is the philosophy that we need to uphold. Well, we need to really understand, and then we need to really implement whatever we do in this field of education, because we are in this discipline of knowledge. We are the lecturer, we are the educator, so we need to understand this, and then whatever we do should be based on this philosophy. Okay, this is the first thing that I think the most important thing that every educator, either whatever the title, either the teachers, the instructors, the lecturers, whatsoever. So we need to know this national educational philosophy. Okay. So why we do research? Why we do research? Okay. I believe most of us know why we do research, especially here when we are in this university, we are as lecturer. So we do research because of first internal factor. Internal factor such as self-interest. Yeah, I believe maybe some of you or most of us, we have a very keen interest to do research, to conduct research, because we believe that when we do research, research will give us new input, new information that can enrich our knowledge, can enhance our skill as well. So maybe this is the thing that why we do research, due to the self-interest or self-satisfaction. Maybe some of the lecturer, when they don't have research grant, when they cannot do research, they cannot sleep. Is that, yes, I need to do research. Research is very, very good. Without research, I'm nothing, for example. So some of lecturers might think like that. For self satisfaction is either small or big research, it doesn't matter. As long he or she can do the research, so it will give self satisfaction to the lecturer. Or obligation. So once we become a lecturer, we might be obliged, with this research. We need to do research. So this is our obligation as a lecturer to do research. Or we can contribute to the academia. Normally when we do research, we will write journals, articles, and etc. Or the at least the research report. Then we can share with other academician, either in the our university or outside of our university. Or we can write article, we can publish either the index or non-index journal. But of course now We have no choice. We have no choice. We need to publish in the index journal, either Scopus or WOS or ERA. So this contribution to the academia. But to me personally, this is my personal view. Um, it's not only the index journal. As long it is a journal, sometimes we can share not only using the medium of journal, we also can share using our talk. We can share with our cliques, if we have training for our new lecturers as well, so we can share with them the finding of our research. So this is the internal factor why we do research. And then the second one, of course, the external factor. Sometimes this external factor influence us more. It gives more merit compared to the internal factor. So, of course, we want to get the grant. So we do research, we make proposal, get the research grant, especially from outside university, because the value, the weightage of the external grant is higher, bigger compared to the internal grant. But as long you have grant, it is considered good. So we do research, we get the grant, and then we do the research. Is that we have two things here. We get the merit of the grant, and also we had the merit of the research, and then we will also be having our publication later on. Or we want to fulfill our KPI achievement. So maybe for the lecturers now, we know that for DS45, for DS52, for DS54, for VK7, we have different KPI for research and for publication. So we must fulfill this KPI. So we want to achieve this KPI, so we need to do research. Now, if you want to publish, so of course normally it's not 100%, but normally publication are based from the research that we carried out. And then the citation. Now people chase the citation. People want to have more citation. So this is the external factor. And is it mandatory? Yeah. Now we don't have choice, as I mentioned. We have choice. We want to do or we don't want to do. But if do not want to do, then we will miss our chances of getting promoted or whatsoever. So if you want to stay in this career for a longer time, so we don't have choice. We need to do research. And I can say this is a mandatory. And last one, of course, for the reason of promotion and etc. So this is why we do research. But in terms of motivation, in terms of the value, to me personally, we need to focus more on the internal factor. Because if we chase the external factor, if we fail, we will be very, very disappointed. Compared to the internal factor, we have our own target, we have our own objective, then it might be achievable, it might not be achieved. So maybe we still be disappointed, but not as much as the external factor. Okay, now of course we are in dilemma. What is our dilemma? First one, regarding pertaining to the research, are we willing to do or we have to? Willing to or have to. Means that willing to is voluntarily, have to is like you've been forced to do that. So are we willing to or we have to? Or is it the external factor or the internal factor? Internal versus the external. So as I mentioned just now, that we need to emphasize on the internal factor more compared to the external factor. And then self-interest or students' interest. So we are a lecturer. We are here to teach our students, to deliver the knowledge to our students. And we want our students to be a knowledgeable and skillful person. But we still have to conduct research. You know that lecturer, we have 5 main areas of responsibility that we need to do. The teaching, the publication, the research, and then the administration as well. So there are few things that we need to fulfill, but sometimes we are in dilemma. Either we want to give more time to students' interest, students' benefit, or we want to focus more on ourselves, self-interest. If we focus on our students more, we are focused on teaching, giving the notes, activities, whatsoever, we might, we might left behind some of the things that we need to enhance ourselves in the future for the self-interest. So sometimes we are in dilemma, either to emphasize on ourselves or our student. And then of course, we want to give more time on research and publication or teaching and mentoring. So yeah, there are, I think now we have different school of thought. Some of us might say that, oh, we need to focus more on the student because they are our product. We want our student to be a very good human being, like what been said in our national educational philosophy. By the same time, the demand from the university, from the higher ranking, the higher person at the university, they ask us to do more research, to do publication. So this is the thing that might put ourselves in dilemma. We not sure which one we want to choose. So the solution. So I'm giving you the alternative, the solution. Now try to do action research. Try to do action research. Why? Why? Now we look at the definition of the action research. Okay. So what is action research? I think most of us already know about this. I hope, but for you who are not really familiar about this action research, so I hope that today I will be able to convey, to deliver, to share with you about this action research. And later on, inshallah, you can do this research that actually is simple and easy to be performed. It can be, it up to you actually. You want to perform a very large scale research, you can do a very small scale. It's up to you. So I just give you the alternative, and it's up to you how you want to run your action research later on. So the word is action research. It can be about review and action. It's that we review our teaching and we do action about that. And then it also can be a very deep research and action as well. And then last one is about change and understanding. Because if we, okay, I give you an example. If we teach in the university for 20 years, we teach the same course in the same program for 20 years, the same content. So we need to change. We need to change. We need to enhance our teaching and learning process. Uh, yeah, we need to do curriculum review. We need to read it. I think within 5 years, once in 5 years, we need to review our curriculum. So before we review our curriculum, before we do the change, we need to understand what is the demand, what is the weaknesses, what is the strength. At least we do some of this analysis, and then after that we come out with new solution, new ideas that can enhance our curriculum for the betterment of our student. So before that, I would like to share with you a little bit brief history of action research. You can find it also in this journal. Okay, just took some of the notes there. So the idea of using research in a natural setting to change the way that the researcher interacts with that setting. To Kurt Lewis, a social psychologist and educator whose work on action research was developed throughout the 1940s in the United States. So actually, if you read the review, if you do the literature review, so Kurt Lewis name will appear in most of the journal. So that's why he's the one considered as the father of the action research. So Lewin is credited with coining the term action research to describe work that did not separate the investigation from the action needed to solve the problem. Is that not only he did the research, but he did the research for the sake to solve the problem faced by him himself, or by others, or by his students, or by the communities that he lived in. So did not separate investigation from the action needed to solve the problem. So topics chosen for his study related directly to the context of the issue. His process was cyclical, involving a non-linear pattern of planning, acting, observing, and reflecting on the changes in the social situation. So its process, the process why was and is actually cyclical. So we will later on about this process. So now I will share with you some of the definition given by the most of the, I think, the dominator of action research, scholars of action research. First one by Abdul, 1985. According to him, action research is a systematic study by a group of practitioners on efforts to change and improve educational practices through their own practical actions, as well as reflection on the effects or consequences of such actions. Means that it's a systematic study, not just okay, so study. No, it's a very systematic study. It can be done by a person, one person, or more than one person. So that's why here I would mention group of practitioners. Effort to change and improve educational practices. So means that they are the one who involved in the teaching and learning process, and they are the one who do the research to their own practical action. For example, me myself from FPP, and maybe some of you here from FPEP, from FKJ, from FSSA, I'm not very sure. And yet you have your own style of teaching. You add your own, I think, efficient and effective method of teaching. So you know better your discipline of knowledge, how to teach your students. So with your own practical action as well as reflection of the effects. So when we do the research, we do the reflection. So when we do reflection, then we'll know that whether this new action introduced is successful or not, or what is the side effects, what are the consequences of such action. So that's the first definition given by Abud. Second is by chemist and McTaggart. This is, I think, the most popular one. Even the model by chemist Taggart is being be implemented by many of the researchers for their action research. So according to them, action research is a form of collectively self-reflective inquiry conducted by participants who are in a social situation aimed at improving the rationality and fairness of their own societal and educational practices. So we look at the word aim at improving the rationality and fairness of their own societal and educational practices. It means that it's not only when we feel that our teaching and learning is not attractive anymore, it's not good anymore, or we fail to teach our students to achieve the learning objective or our learning outcomes. Not only that, even though we are already achieve our standard, but in order for us to improve that, so it is suggested that we do action research. As I mentioned before that we already teach for you maybe more than me here. I just joined UMS in 2008. But I was a teacher since 1995. So when I was a teacher for only 5 years, um, then I feel that, yeah, I teach the same subject for 5 years. No need for me to bring along my textbook to the classroom because everything is here. The content is here. And that particular time, the teachers were not really introduced to this action research. So that's why I shift to IPG and then to the university. But when the Ministry of Education introduced this AR to the teachers to do, and then later on they found out that, yeah, this can give some changes to the teachers that they can improve their teaching and learning activities as well. Okay? So as well as increasing their understanding of those practices, not only not only just do the action research, but they are also understanding those practices. Each step they do, they will understand, and situation in which the practice is done. So the keyword here is the understanding. Okay, and then we look the next by McNiff. This is also popular now. McNiff. Action research is an approach to improving or enhancing the quality of education through change by encouraging teachers to become more aware of their own practices. Here, teachers or lecturers, educators, whatever the term, more aware. Instead, when we say something, when we do activities, we aware of that. When we choose one methodology, one approach in our teaching and in process, we aware of that. And how we can improve that approach, how we can improve that strategies or method that we use in the classroom. To be critical of those practices and willing to change them. Yeah, some of us really feel, in a comfortable zone, comfort zone. Uh, already been a lecturer for 10 years, 20 years. We think we are really good. Yeah, at higher level with, with title, doctor, associate professor, professor whatsoever. But are we really good enough in our teaching? Does our teaching really impact our student? So we need to aware of that, aware of our own practices, to be critical of those practices and willing to change them. So this is the term that we need to change. We are willing to change. We cannot be stagnant uh, in one area at one place. We need to shift, like we shift our paradigm, we shift our idea, we need to shift our behavior, our thinking, and our action in the classroom to improve ourselves, to improve our students as well. So it involves teachers or educators, sorry, typo error there, in the inquiries conducted by them, as well as involving other teachers, educators collectively. So as I mentioned before, it can be done single teacher or more than one teachers. So according to Cochrane, Smith and Little, action research is a classroom study conducted by teachers, educators to enable them to explore issues that interest them. So any issue happen in the classroom, it can be very small issue like, there was one research done only tackling the issue of how to hold a pen. Because this teacher, she lady, she observed that most of the kids holding pen incorrectly. So he tried to do this research by showing the student do the intervention, how to hold the pen correctly. This is a very small type of action research, but yet the implication is very significant, very important. So it provides a formal method for making teachers, educators knowledge part of the source of information in teaching, as well as bringing teachers or educators closer to the power structure in education. So from changing the micro element, it will bring up to the macro element. And last one, sorry, I'm sharing with you quite a number of definition in order for us to know the different perspective of action research, and later on I will show you the comprehensive definition of action research. So Reason and Bradbury stress that action research is about working towards practical outcomes and also about creating new forms of understanding. Since action research without understanding is blind, okay? Action research without understanding is blind. Just a theory without action is meaningless. So I believe that most of us, we did research, we publish many papers, either in index journal or non-index. But sometimes, if we think that whether our paper really give good implication, good effect to other people or not, or it just be there in the journals, the library, the student will read our publication, do the citation, but it's only finish alive in the paper, not really some action that can be taken, can be done, can be implemented, that can benefit the students, the school, the university, or the community. So sometimes I think like that. Is it my paper really give impact to the community, or it's just been cited by others and just be there in the journals, not really give some benefit to others in their life, in their real life. Action research is a research approach that is grounded in practical action. This is the action component, grounded in practical action, while at the same time focus on the generating, informing, and building theory. This is the research component. As I mentioned before, that it can be a very simple AR, or it can be a very thick and a very comprehensive AR that can be as a PhD thesis. Yeah. Okay. So if we combine all this, then it can be a very good, a very deep, a very comprehensive AR. Okay. So these two components work in combination, each mutually informing and supporting the other. So it is a constructivist. Why constructivist? Because we construct the idea, we construct the intervention, we construct the new finding. So it is a constructivist approach to research that involves processes of collaboration, if more than one researcher, dialogue among them or among the participants, and action among the participants in the surrounding social system. So with that, therefore, what can I summarize from all the definition? AR is a study in the form of self-reflection, inquiry conducted by participants or researchers who are educational practitioners, teachers or educators as researchers in the social situation itself. And as researchers, they implement practical actions, not only on paper, it's very practical actions, i.e. the interventions aimed at improving or enhancing the quality of their respective practices, improving or enhance. So it's either you want to improve or you want to enhance, or we want to do some correction of our previous lesson, while increasing their understanding of the practice as well as the situations in which the practice is performed. So it involves the process of reflecting, planning, implementing, and observing. So this is I think the quite comprehensive definition of action research. Or you can add some more, it's up to you. So now we look at the purpose of doing this action research. Why? Why we do action research? First one, this is the general purpose. General purpose. So the main purposes of AR are to improve and to participate. Improve and participate. So in terms of improve, what to improve? Improve the practice. So we try to improve our practice. That's why normally, yeah, actually what we should do after we finish our class, actually we do some reflection. That's what the teachers do at school. When they come back to the teacher's room, they need to write the reflection. So from that reflection, they will try to improve their practices. And then improve the understanding of the practice by the practitioner. So do we really understand our practice? Do we really know our strategy, our method, our approach during our teaching and learning process? Do we really understand that? So we need to really understand that in order for us to improve, like ourselves. We need to know ourselves, our healthy, our height, our weight, in order for us to better, to be healthier. So for our student, before we can change our students' attitude, students' skill and behavior, we need first to improve ourselves by knowing our practice. And then improve the situation, circumstances in which the practice implemented. We know that when we teach, there are actually at least three elements involved. First one is the lecturer or the teacher. We as a lecturer, and then the other side is the students. And in between is the what? Is the content that you want to deliver to our student. So we are the one who give the lecture. The student listen to us. They want to receive, receive, get the knowledge from us. So in between is the knowledge. So sometimes we are just lecturing. We just hope that our student will listen and will get what we want to deliver. That's the idea. But are they really learning? Yes, we are teaching them, delivering something. But is that the process of learning happen or not? So we need to know that situation. Now we are doing the online learning. So it's less element of class control, the environment, whatsoever. But still we need to make sure that this kind of environment that some sort that really can motivate our student to study, to learn, that we manage to control our class, although it's online, to make sure that they are really listening and make our topic, our course interesting. And then, of course, the second element is the participate. Anyone involved in the practice is also actually directly involved in the action research. Anybody, it can be you yourself or you with your friends or the student. So they are directly involved in the action research. So the process of planning, implementing, observing, and also reflecting. So this is the general purpose of action research. Okay, now we turn to some statement. I think this statement is very uh, interesting. Action research involves problem posing, not just problem solving. It does not start from a view of problems as pathologies. It is motivated by a quest to improve and understand the world by changing it and learning how to improve it from the effects of the change made. So means that we need to improve and understand the world, our students, our class, by trying to change it and learn how to improve it by the effects of the change that we made. That's why it's a cyclical process. It's not only one cycle, it can turn to second, third, and more cycle. Okay. So, in these few minutes, I still want to share with you the concept of action research, action research, and after that, inshallah, I will share with you the process of action research. So, action research is concerned with bringing about change. So, I believe that who attend this online talk this morning, we willing to change. We want to change. It's It's not to solve problem per se, but to find ways of bringing about change so that the reasons for these problems can be eliminated. Any problems, inshallah, can be eliminated by carrying out the action research. Action research is about people working together in collaborative ways so that they can grow professionally. Is that is not only alone, we can do it with our colleagues, with our friends as well. So we can move forward together. And then action research is much more about process rather than product. Normally for other research, either we do experimental or non-experimental research, we'll focus more on the product. But for AR, yes, we still concerned about the product, but we are more on the process. So action research is not a library study where we delve deeper into the field we are interested in. We are not really do literature review like conventional research. When we write thesis or article journals, we focus more on the LR, literature review, library study. Need to find many journals, previous research to support our findings later on. No, it's not really that. Yes, we need, of course, to do some literature review, but not that deep. We not really delve deeper into the field that we are interested in. And they are also not a problem solving in the sense that we are trying to figure out what is wrong, but more on a quest for knowledge of how to be better. So we think, we change, we do something because we want how to be better. So it's not only trying to figure out what is wrong. No. We want to be better. We move forward. We look forward and we do better for the tomorrow. Okay. And it is not about learning why we do something. Why we do something, but more about how. Not about why, but how we can do something better. It is how we can change our teaching to have an impact on our student. So maybe some of the lecturers, not us in this platform, others outside there, they think about themselves. They think how to get promoted, how they can publish more, how they can get whatever title that he or she want to get. Not focus on their student. So that's why, to me, we must give more to our student. But at least we have 50-50 win-win situation. We want to get a better place in the university, to get the promotion, but at the same time, we need to have a very good impact on our student. So how we can do something better for our student, especially in our teaching and learning process. We need to remember that we are not teaching robots. We are teaching living things. We are teaching human being, humankind, our student. They are human. So we need to teach them, considering them as a human being. So the benefit, what are the benefit of AR? It helps educators face challenges So now, like us, we face challenges. Huh? Um, since 2020, we need to conduct our class, our lectures online. So this one challenge that we need to face, to change ourselves. So in order for us to become better, teaching online, so we need to learn. We need to adapt and adopt with the new technologies. And we might use this problem, this issue as our action research. So help educators to face challenges. Remove educators from the shackles of routine practice. Yeah, we teach for 10 years, 20 years, so we are doing same routine. So in order for us to give a bit break, or not the break, I mean some added value maybe to our teaching and learning process, we do this action research. So it can remove the educators from the shackles of routine practice. Empowerment to make decision in the classroom. So lecturers, teachers, we are empowered by the dean, by the VCs. What we want to do in our class is our own right, is our own decision to make. How we want to conduct our class, how we want to deliver our content is up to us, as long the student can receive that particular contents, that skills that we want to uh, for them to know and to master. Okay, so in order for us to keep this empowerment and to make sure that our decision is right, on the right track, so by using action research, it can at least defend our decision or can enhance our teaching and learning process. And then encourage educators to share experience. We know that maybe one course is being taught by more than one lecturers. Maybe you are sharing a course, one course, two lecturers or three lecturers. So you can share your own experience with your colleagues. And then if you find that, oh, we experience the same problem, then you can conduct a common similar action research using different groups. Then you can share the findings. Yeah, you can share the reflection as well. So you can share your experience with your friends. And then be an agent of change. Of course, we are educators, either we are the teachers or lecturers, we are the agent of change. We want our students to change their what? Their mind, their cognitive, their emotion, their attitude to become better, to become better person and become, of course, a very good graduates later on when they graduated. So we are the agent of change, and by doing or implementing AR, it can be an agent of change as well. So now we look at the advantages. The advantages of AR, maybe comparing to other type of research. No cost at all in terms of, maybe in terms of financial, no cost at all, or less cost, especially the fund, the time, and human resource. No need for us to hire assistant researcher, AR. No need for us to apply for big grant to do this action research. Maybe, and no need too much time. Maybe it can be done only just a week, or less than a month. So it's really less in terms of the cost, in terms of fund, time, and human resource. And it can be done anytime, early of the year, or end of the year, or mid-year, anytime. When you find the problem that you want to solve, when you see this thing that need to be improved, then you just come out with an action and do the action research. So it can be done anytime. It can be micro and macro. If you feel that you want to do it by yourself, immediately at that particular time, then you just do your action research. Or in terms of macro scale, if you want to do with your colleagues, with your lecturers, with your friends, you want to do a bigger scale, like involving the university student, maybe at that university level, or you want to do more, maybe at the state level, national level, it also can be done. So it can be micro and macro scale. And it less theory driven. Normally, we know that the conventional research is more on the theory driven. We need to first get the fundamental theory. What is the theory that can, uh, you know, really as the fundamental of our research, can be the umbrella for the variables in our study. But for the AR action research is more on the problem driven, not the theory driven. Yes, it's better if we can we can find a related theory that really relevant to our variable or problem in our action research, but it's not something which is compulsory. Unless if you want to do this AR for the purpose of doing masters or PhD, yes, of course we need to provide, prepare the theory. But if you want to just do for our own research to improve our teaching and learning process, so no need to have theory in our research. It's of course more meaningful and beneficial, meaningful to ourselves and benefit to our students, and maybe benefit also to ourselves, and it can be also benefit, give benefit to the university, or to the state and to the whole nation. It's not something that only being kept in the papers, uh, not something that not really give contribution to the society. It's a very practical. It can be something beneficial to the people outside there, or at least to our own student. And it can be done qualitatively, using quantitative or mixed method. Uh, Here I mentioned how you define them. It's up to you. In terms, especially mixed method, if you want to follow school of thought A, you follow A. If you have to follow school of thought B, B. Because there are different definition of mixed method. So it's up to you. And in terms of action research, it does not really concern, focus more on this, because the focus is more on the process, the problem, and then the reflection. But of course, as a researcher, as a lecturer, we know this method very, very well. So it can be done quantitative or mixed method. But normally, the basement, the fundamental is qualitative. It's qualitative.
Salam Prof.
And it is, yeah,
Sorry to interrupt. Boleh
salam.
boleh tanya soalan?
Boleh.
Let's say we are trying to be innovative kan in teaching and learning. So especially during this pandemic time kan. So we have a lot
Okay.
of disadvantage lah in terms of delivering
Okay.
our contents and methods. So it requires all lecturers to be innovative. So maybe some of us, what we did is that we changed our delivery methods. Kan from being fully physical meeting, we switched to blended learning, and then some of the lecturers are innovative in the sense of getting more engagement with the students kan, use
Yep.
more online platforms macam Padlet semua tu. So the
Okay.
question is that, is being innovative in teaching and learning considered as part of action research?
Okay. Thank you, Amer, for the question. Good question. Yeah. Actually, what we did, we already done. Actually, when we put something and action to improve our teaching and learning process, that can also considered as action research. So, but okay, when we just put an action without doing the reflection, so it's not considered as action research. I will show you later on the cyclical part of the action research. Most of us, that's why I believe that most of us, we did this, but first we don't do the documentation, and we do not really follow the proper process of action research. Amer, I will share you later, Amer. Thank you.
Okay, Prof. Thank you.
Okay. So solve the problem in the real world, not only just something too academic, means that only among the academician only. Normally, as I mentioned before, that we are sharing papers, you do the citation. So this is only among the academician, and not only business driven. Of course, we know that why we want the higher number of citation, because to get our university to the higher level. Yeah, either local or international. So when our university well known, then maybe we get more students to enroll in our university. So it's not only that, because the advantage of AR is it solve the problem in the real world, at least in our own classroom. And last one, of course, apart from that, we can do publication. At the end of the slide of this talk, I will share you some of the publication, Scopus Journal, Q2, Q3, that will produce from the finding of the action research. So the characteristic of action research. So the goal is a positive change that will occur at the end of the research. Like I mentioned before, that when you are using partner whatever, when the positive change is achieved, then actually this is the one characteristic of the action research, is a positive change that will occur at the end of the research. Studies done to solve individual, group, social or community problem. It's not only community, it also can be implemented only at a single person in our classroom. Let's say, for example, we found out that one of our students not really interested in our course. Okay, it might be from different reasons, whatever. So we want to try something that can enhance his motivation. So for example, we do intervention A. So when we do this kind of intervention A to this particular student, that also can be called as action research. So it's very micro in terms of the scale. Student studies is to improve the current situation, not the future, not the previous or the past, but the current one. What we do now, we do the reflection, we do the action, then we hope that it can improve the current situation. Of course, the improvement is in the future, but the problem is the current situation. And related to daily tasks, we are the lecturers, we are teaching our students. This is our daily task. I believe that most of us have lectures, classes, if not every day, twice, thrice a week. Maybe 2 courses, 3 courses, with total number of quite many. I think from PPIB, they have more students compared to other lecturers at the faculty. So it's a very daily task that we perform every day. So if you find any problem, any obstacles whatsoever in our teaching and learning process, we must try something that can improve that. Then it also called as action research. It's a reflective process of self-reflective inquiry. So it's very reflective. We reflect ourselves. Before we blame others, we need to blame ourselves first. We need to look the weaknesses from our own perspective, not put others. So we should ask why the student don't want to listen to my talk, to my lecture, to my why don't want to have a good attention, why they cannot focus. So this is the thing that we need to do some reflection. Don't blame the student first. We need to look at ourselves first, try to find our weaknesses, improve that. And later on, if we find that, the problem is not from me, from the student, so we can find some solution. solution that we can try to do on the student. So the researcher is directly involved in the study. It's not someone else. It's we ourselves who do the research. Not even if we, for example, we have grant, we have our assistant researcher. Not even he or she. We are the one who do the research, implement the research. That's why, as I mentioned, that this is a very qualitative, because in qualitative, the researcher is the instrument itself. The researcher is the instrument itself. So the researcher is directly involved in the study. Another characteristic is the action research is determined by the practitioners themselves. So you are the one who know the problem. You are the one who face the issue. So it's determined by the practitioners themselves, not by reviewing from the literatures. No, that's different. So you need to know why is the problem, the current one. So you are the one who determine what you want to do. You are the one who know that better. Action research is carried out systematically. Yeah, you need to carry it out systematically. So I will show you later on the cycle in order to make sure that it runs in a systematic way. And there are practical action and interventions. It's very practical, not on paper only. We need to do it, go to the field, do the practical action, give treatment and whatsoever. And data is more likely to be a combination of quantitative and qualitative. Maybe it involves a bit of numbers, numerical, but not too much. Right? And then also it needs more explanation, more interpretation of data. And a process that is repetitive and continuous, cyclical basis. As I mentioned before, that if we do some action and it's not successful, then we need to do the second cycle. Still not successful, we do the next cycle until it is solved. And more focus on process than output, because that's why it is cyclical. It can be more than one cycle because it focuses on the process. Because if we focus on the process, it will be a continuous process. Sometimes we more focus on the output. After we get that product output, it will stop there. But if we focus on the process, we find, let's say we find one action that can be done, can improve the teaching process, learning process, so that achieve. But later on, we study that process. Can the process be improved or not for the future advancement? And last one, of course, we are not used, AR is not used to test hypotheses. Normally, a pure quantitative research will have hypotheses, but for this kind of AR, it is not like that. It don't have hypotheses. Okay, this is type of AR. From the micro individual educator research to the statewide, or maybe it can be developed more to the nationwide action research. So we look, the first one, individual educator research, focus on the single class issue, possible support needed, coach, mentor, access to technology, assistant with data organization and analysis, potential impact, curriculum, instruction, assessment. The side effect, it can be positive, it can be negative as well. Practice informed by data, information not always shared, because you are the one who conduct the research by yourself. You might not share with others, or you can share with others as well. Okay. When we do collaborative action research, the focus is on the single class or several class with common issue. Means that one single class, maybe there are 2 or 3 teachers or lecturers who teach that class. Sharing. What I mean is that, okay, for example, we have 3 different lecturers for one course. The first lecturer teach for the first 4 weeks. The second 4 weeks, the second lecturer. The last 4 weeks, the third lecturer. So means that there are 3 lecturers teaching the similar class. So these 3 lecturers can conduct action research in a single class. Or if they have three classes but similar courses, they can conduct common issue with different classes. Possible support needed, substitute educators, release time closely with administrators because of course it's a bigger scale of study, so might need might need a link with administrators. Curriculum instruction, it can potentially impact the curriculum on instruction. Instruction means teaching. Here in pedagogy, instructions means teaching. Assessments policy, and the side effect is the improved collegiality. Of course, we work together, we'll understand among us better, and formation of partnership. It might not only the same institution, with other institution also can be done. Institution-wide action research. This focus on the institution issue, bigger problem or area of collective interest. Let's say we are here, have different faculty, we can do collaboration among the faculty to conduct action research. Institution commitment, leadership, because why? When we conduct this quite bigger scale action research, we need a leader, head of the researcher who can manage the research very, very well. Communication must be a very positive communication. Also external partners, if possible and if necessary. Potential impact, potential to impact institution, restructuring and change policy. Action research, and when action is really successful with a very significant finding, so maybe it can change the policy or the parent involvement or the society involvement and evaluation of the program. And the side effect is the improved collegiality, collaboration, and communication, team building, disagreement, maybe disagreement on the process. But in a group, we need to hold one principle that we agree to disagree. Okay, we agree to disagree. And last one is the statewide action research or nationwide action research. State issue is a bigger issue and it involves organizational structures. Possible support needed, state commitment. We may ask from the assistants, facilitators, the recorder, communication, external partners as well. And then the impact, the allocation of resources, professional development activities. It's continuous, like what we are doing now, actually the continuous professional development. Organizational structures and also can impact the policy as well. And last one is the side effects, the improved collegiality, collaboration, communication, team building, disagreements on process, and also shared the vision because it is very large scale action research. So we need to share the vision among the researcher. Okay, now we look at the process. Okay. The first cycle normally before we run the action research, we look at the pre-action, identifying the problem. What is the problem that we face in our class, for example, or in our course, in our university? Identifying the problem. After we identifying the problem, we go to the first phase or first step is we do the plan. What you want to do. We might write the mini or a simple draft of proposal. And then second one is the action. We implement the action or the intervention. And then third phase is the observation, the data gathering. Collect the data, we observe. I will explain to you later on. The next slide will come. And then the reflection. The reflection is that we analyze the data and we write the report. And if the problem is not solved, then we need to go to the second cycle or the next cycle. Okay, now looks in detail. And so this is the, okay, it can be, this is the first cycle. Plan, act, observe, reflect. And then let's say we reflect that, oh, the problem still not been solved. Then we go to the next plan. Again, the same element, and then again. So we hope that the best is only one cycle is already enough. can solve the problem, but it still cannot be solved. So we need to move to another cycle. Not only solve, but if want to improve later on, then we can move to the next cycle. Okay, so now the first stage, identifying problem. Educators often have several questions they wish to investigate. Yeah, I believe that most of us have problem. Is either we want to tackle it or we want to tackle it. So that's only the matter. However, it is important to limit the question to the one that is meaningful and doable in the confines of their daily work. So some of us might have administrative position. Some of us might don't have or really free. The term is maybe the pure lecturer. No job, uh, no extra job as administrator whatsoever. So it depends on you. So you need to limit the question to the one that is meaningful and doable. Can you do it or you cannot do it? So if you want to do it, at what level? At what limitation? So it's up to you, depends on your situation, position at the university. Careful planning at this stage will limit false starts and frustration. So yeah, we know that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So there are several criteria to consider before investing the time and effort in researching a problem. The question should be a higher order question, not yes or no. You should address the question of at least what, how, and why. And then be stated in common language. Don't use jargon, what so bombastic word. Just put in common language that can be understood by common people. Be concise, simple but comprehensive. Be concise, not too long, and then be meaningful. And of course, the problem you face not already have an answer. If you have one problem, then the answer is there. You just take the answer to solve the problem. But you might face problem in your classroom that don't have complete answer. Maybe we have literature that can answer that, but not that relevant. 100% can be implemented in our classroom. So we need to address this kind of question. Second step is the plan plus the action. Okay, plan and then the action. So we need to plan the overall research. Especially if you want to do this in a very proper manner. So we need to plan the overall research and then also plan the action intervention from the problem. What is the things that you want to do? The action, plan A, plan B. So we need to set the plan, the action that need to be taken, or the intervention or the treatment for the particular problem, and plan the research process from A to Z. It's like we do the research. Yeah, maybe we write a very simple Gantt chart, plan the research process. So design a plan of action that will allow the researcher to make a change and to study that change. So you want to improve, you want to modify, you want to do some correction. So means that we want to make a change and then we study that change. So allow we as a researcher to make a change and to study that change. Then after the plan, we execute, we implement the action. This is the action stage. So the third stage is the observation. Observe all data gathering. All data gathering. So the collection of data is an important step in deciding what action needs to be taken. I mean, if the next cycle is needed, then if not needed, it's okay. Start like that. So if it is needed, then very, very important to decide. Multiple sources of data are used to better understand the scope of happening in the class or institution. So it's better. It's not compulsory. If you think that by only do observation, pemerhatian, or using the checklist, senarai semak, can solve your problem, then it is enough. So if you want to take multiple resources or sources, so it also can be done, and then is better because we can use triangulation in our analysis later on. So there are many vehicles for collection of data. To select the data that are most appropriate for the issue being researched, are the data easy to collect? This is the consideration that we need to consider. Are the sources readily available for use? How structured and systematic will the collection be? And organize the data in a way that makes it useful to identify trends and themes. If we want to look at the trends and themes, this is only example. For instance, data can be arranged by gender, class, age, year, institution, variable, whatsoever. It's up to the researcher. You are the one who conduct the research. You know how to analyze, how to separate the data later on. So this is some of the instrument or the tools that can be used for the data gathering, the interviews, study the portfolios, reading the diaries, or you want to writing the diaries, the field notes, using the audio tapes. You might shoot some photos, the memos, questionnaires, focus groups, add to the records, checklists, journals, individuals files, logs of meetings, videotapes, case studies, surveys, records, tests, reports cards, attendance, any document. That's why it can be document analysis as well. It can be survey. It can be um, interview, check whatsoever. As long it take an action, so that's we call as action. This is self-assessment, samples of student work, projects, and etc. So this is we call as multiple resources or sources. Okay, but again, if you think that by using only one or two tools can make your study successful, then this is okay. This is acceptable for your study. So last one is the reflection. Okay, this is actually, I think, the most important part. Apart from the action, reflection is the important element of action research. So assess the effects of the action or intervention to determine if improvement has occurred. So we do the intervention, we do the action, and then we observe that, we analyze that. Then we will know that either improvement has occurred or not. So if improvement has occurred, then our action research is done. Okay, it is successfully done. But if not, then we need to go to the next cycle. So if there is improvement, do the data clearly provide the supporting evidence? Because we need to come with the data. Yes, of course, research is about the data. So do the data clearly provide the supporting evidence? It's either numerical data, it's either from the photos, it's maybe from our notes, whatsoever. Okay. If no, what changes can be made to the actions to elicit better results? So what is the modification that can be done to the treatment to elicit the better result in the next cycle? So as a result of the action research project, identify additional questions raised by the data. Is that we are studying the data, we are looking at the data, analyzing the data, so we can maybe find additional questions raised by the data and plan for additional improvements, revisions, and next steps if needed. If needed. Okay. And then now I just want to share the brief format If you want to write, conduct, and action research, okay. So of course, we need to do the reflection of the past teaching and learning process. This is the first part, the pre-action. So we look at the weaknesses of our class, of our teaching and learning process. So do the reflection, and then we issue the concern, the research problem, research focus. What are the problems that you want to study? What are the focus that you want to focus on? And then we do the planning. We state the objective, general and the specific objective, and then we determine the target group. Maybe not group, a person, 2 persons, a class, 2 classes, whatever, or an institution. So it's up to us. And then we implement the study. This is the action, action planning, implement the action, and then we observe. And then last one, we do the reflection. So this is the, I think the simple draft for the action research format. Okay, now I like to share with you some of the before that, yeah, research or article that has been published. This is a Q2 innovative higher education is the Q2 uh, uh, journal article, Q2 article scopus. So this fellow did his action research or her action research, study of student self-assessment in higher education. So I just share with you the abstract. You can get it online easily. Okay. Although student self-assessment is considered a critical component of assessment for learning, it is used and related research. Its use and related research are rare in higher education. So normally, action research is being implemented in the schools, either primary or secondary schools. So in the higher education is quite seldom, it's quite rare. This article describes an action research study of self-assessment as an instructional strategy in two universities courses. Results indicate that self-assessment exercises provided students the opportunity to reflect on the course and their performance, help them monitor their own progress, motivated them to do well in the course, and provided them the opportunity to give feedback to the instructor. So additionally, from the instructor perspective, the exercises provided useful feedback for course improvement and facilitated interactions and relationships with the students. So this is research done in the higher education, and this research been published in the Q2 journal. So I believe this study won't take too much time and didn't take in terms of the financial, it's not really expensive. And this is also, I'm not mistaken, a Q4 journal, Learning and Teaching. The topic is There is an Alternative, a report of an action research project to develop a framework for cooperative higher education. Okay, so we read together. Abstract, this report provides an interim account of a participatory action research project undertaken during 2015-2016. So the research brought together scholars, students, and expert members. So this is maybe the state level or the national level movement to design a theoretically informed and practically grounded framework for a cooperative higher education that activists, educators, and the cooperative movement could take forward into implementation. So our dual roles in the research were as founding members of the Social Science Center Lincoln and Autonomous Cooperative for Higher Education, constituted in 2011. Social Science Center 2013, and as professional researchers working at the University of Lincoln. The immediate contact for the research was and remains the assault on universities in the UK, blah, blah, blah. So what I just want to share is that by using action research, by doing this, we can publish in the quite index journal. And last one, just to share you the journal, is the in the Turkish Online Journal of Action Technology. This is indexed by EBSCO-host, ProQuest, and etc. But I think just excluded from the Scopus, but still quite good index journal. So the topic is action plan on communication practices, role of tutors at EMU Distance Education Institute to overcome social barriers in constructing knowledge. So the research involves an action plan for the improvement of the quality of the Distance Education Institute of Eastern Mediterranean University and based on EUA norms. So this research is part of a work-based learning process to enhance the contribution of online pedagogy and teaching process. So this is the thing that I did want to focus. Also the communication process. So I don't want to read everything here. So what I mean is that by conducting an action research, we can also write a good article and publish in the index journal. Okay. So with that, I finish my presentation. So thank you very much for your listening. Thank you to Amer and the director, Dr. Dennis, for inviting me to share my talk to all of you and hope give some, knowledge, information, and remind me as well as the speaker. And sorry for any weaknesses or whatever that might hurt you. Thank you again. That's all. Assalamualaikum and salam sejahtera. Back to Amir.
Thank you very much, Prof, for sharing. I think you boleh dengar, eh? Okay. Thank you very much, Prof. Dr. Suhaimi Taat, for the very brief and very useful sharing for all of us on action research. I have one question before I open the questions for other participants. Boleh ya, Doktor?
Boleh.
Few questions lah kan. Apa ni, from your experience kan, in doing action research, especially in education, what are the common challenges that you normally face lah when you're doing action research in teaching and learning process?
Okay, thank you, Amir, for the question. Actually, if you ask me, the first challenge is that within ourselves as the researcher. Okay, we need some kind of internal motivation for us to drive ourselves to do this research, because we cannot just ignore the external factors. Okay, but if we good with good intention and with good action as well, then we might be able to do this action research successfully. That's the first. And then the second thing is that the cooperation from others. For example, if you want to do collaborative action research, not all of us or the teachers at school or our lecturers here, they willing to join our collaboration, join our team to do this kind of research because they might think this is not like conventional research. This is very low, sorry to say, low level of research. So that kind of challenge. So and then last one, of course, from the participants. Not everybody willing to participate in our action research. So that's my experience, Amir. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Do you have any questions? Do we have any questions from the participants? While waiting for others to ask you a question, Doctor, I have another question if you don't mind. Sebab
Boleh, Amir.
very interesting lah ni sharing ni kan on action research ni. You mentioned just now one of the characteristics of AR ni is that it is more focusing on the process rather than the output, kan, Doctor?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just correct me if I'm wrong. Does that mean the output does not really matter? Ataupun we only focus on the process for the sake of getting the solutions to the problem? What about if we want to publish it in journals? Normally kalau let's say if the outcome is negative, kan, the experiment failed, for example, but I think the outcome is still useful for publication. What do you think of that?
Okay. What I mean from that statement is that more on focus on the process. Actually, yes, we also concerned about the output. Okay, output, because we hope, of course, when we do some intervention action, we hope that the term is that we hope. Okay, we hope that that intervention, that action can solve the problem. So I mentioned that if we only focus on that, we might become, disappointed if that action fail, as you mentioned. So if that fail, so it's not good in the sense that we want to report to our, let's say, our dean whatsoever. So that's why we focus on the process. What I mean is that if the first cycle fail, the first process fail, we can turn to the next cycle. Normally, from my experience, first cycle not easy to achieve the objective, to solve the problem only using by one cycle. Normally, when we observe, we'll find another obstacles that we might face. So we need to counter that obstacle first. Then that's why we'll turn to the next phase or the next cycle. So hopefully by using the next intervention or the next action, so the next cycle, then that cycle will can we what I mean that we can close the research, then the outcome or the output of the research is okay and successful in our study. Yeah. So yes, we focus on output as well, but we need to focus more on the process, because this process actually important, and we also do the reflection on the process as well, not only reflection on the output. Most study we will reflect on the output, think about the output, but in actual research we need to think about the process as well, and also the output. Okay, Amer, can you get it? Boleh faham ke?
Boleh. So
Boleh nampak lah kan sikit-sikit.
maksudnya the design is paling penting lah, kan? Maksudnya before we start
Yeah.
implement, so we need to carefully think about the design lah, kan? Whether kalau kita come up with experimental design, so design must be accurate ataupun must be proper enough lah before we start with the process, kan?
Yeah. That's because we are dealing with human being. In the classroom, either at school or in university, we are dealing with human being. Manusia ni, we cannot control. Like science, like science, they normally do the research in the lab, so they can control the temperature, whatever. But in social science, sometimes we hope this action can be done easily, can be done. But maybe that particular day, the different emotion of the participants and then the environment as well, it can change the situation, and it can give maybe negative impact to the action, the implementation or the intervention that you want to perform for that particular day. Kan macam kat sekolah atau kat universiti kan, Amir, kan, kita dah plan cantik, tapi bila nak laksana hari tu ada masalah pula. So masalah tu yang kita kena tackle for the next cycle. Itu maksud saya kenapa kita fokus pada proses.
I see. Thank you. Hello, Doktor, boleh dengar? Macam terputus pula line.
Boleh.
Okay.
Ya. Macam cakap ini. Okay.
So dari segi time frame tu, dia mungkin akan berubah jugalah, kan, in case, yelah, sebab it depends on the cycle, kan. if first cycle fail and then you move on to the second cycle, the third cycle. So mungkin dia akan affect the time frame jugalah.
Ya,
Alright.
macam Amer cakap tadi, the best is that if we plan carefully. Boleh dengar Amer? Macam putus-putus
Macam putus-putus.
Now okay?
Now okay. Alright. Okay, ada soalan lain?
Okay, mungkin lain tak?
Yeah. Any questions from the participants? Or maybe if they want to just email you, doctor, is it okay? Kan mungkin
Boleh.
ada mereka masih belum
It's
lagi
okay.
ada idea untuk bertanya ataupun or may they probably fully understood, what you have shared
Hopefully.
just now. InsyaAllah lah.
Mudah-mudahan,
So,
insyaAllah.
nanti if anything, we can just directly contact Associate Professor Dr. Suhaimi lah for more information kan on action research.
Boleh.
We would like to thank Doctor lah for 1 hour and a half, is it? Almost 2 hours, giving the talk on action research in course delivery. This is very interesting input for all of us. I do agree lah with what you said earlier. We as lecturers and academics, we cannot be stagnant in one place, especially in teachings. They need to have a kind of paradigm shift in terms of our thinking, our delivery methods, and actions in teachings and learning, so that we can further improve. Not just we as the educator improve, but most importantly, the students themselves improve and they get a better engagement in learning lah. Okay, itulah point kita kan sebenarnya as academics kan. Kita tak nak student tu just belajar sahaja, but we want them to really understand what they are learning and enjoy the process, and hopefully they can share and implement benda tu jugalah kan, apply benda tu dalam hidup dia. Okay, so insyaAllah, hopefully today's session give a lot of benefits to all of us who join. Okay, and insyaAllah, Doctor, we meet again in the next platform or in the next series of PPKA talk. Okay, before we leave, kalau boleh, can we turn on our camera for quick group photo session? Kashfi ada sini, boleh ambil kan?
Ada doktor, sekejap ya.
Alright. Thank you Lee Haji Wahid for joining. Terima kasih banyak.
Ada lagi yang buka kamera? Saya cek belakangnya. Sekejap, macam masih ada yang membuka kamera lagi. Okay, ready? 1, 2, senyum. Okay, sekejap. Next page ah. Satu, dua, senyum. Okay.
Alright, thank you everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you to all participants for joining. Thank you very much, Professor Madya, Dr. Suhaimi Taat, for the sharing today. InsyaAllah, we'll meet again in other platform in the next.
Terima kasih, Amer. Terima kasih semua.
Thank you
Thank you very
semua.
much.
Assalamualaikum.
Welcome.
Take care.
Salam.